The golden age of the Pandavs' reign had come to an end. 36 years had passed since the great Kurukshetra war, a war that restored dharma but left indelible scars on the hearts of those who survived. The departure of Lord Krishna from the mortal world and the annihilation of the Yadava clan had shaken the very foundation of their world. Yudhishthira, the eldest of the Pandavas, felt a profound awakening. The world he knew was dissolving, and their purpose within it had been fulfilled. Gathering his brothers and Draupadi, Yudhishthira spoke with resolute calmness. The time has come for us to leave behind this mortal world and its fleeting attachments. Time is the ultimate force, shaping all beings and leading them toward their inevitable end. I now surrender to the will of time and acknowledge its binding power. Feel free to share your thoughts on this as well. His words struck a deep chord in the hearts of his companions. Each of them had carried the weight of loss, guilt, and responsibility since the war. Bhima, the mighty warrior who had crushed countless enemies with his bare hands, nodded solemnly. Arjuna, the wielder of Gandhiv, who had fought beside Lord Krishna, silently agreed, his gaze heavy with memories. Nakula and Sahadeva, the youngest of the brothers, understood the wisdom of their elder brother's decision. Draupadi, their queen, whose life had been a series of trials, embraced the path without hesitation. Thereafter, Yudhishthira entrusted the throne to Parikshit, the son of Abhimanyu, under the wise guardianship of Kripacharya. With unwavering resolve, they performed the last rites for their departed kin, offering solemn tarpanas to Lord Krishna and their loved ones. Before leaving, Yudhishthira addressed the people of Hastinapur, who had gathered in tears. "Beloved citizens," he said, "we have served you to the best of our abilities. The time has come for us to renounce this life and seek a higher path. Take care of the kingdom and each other. Follow the path of dharma, for it alone sustains the world." The people wept and protested, but Yudhishthira's decision was unshakable. As they departed, the Pandavas left behind not just a kingdom but a legacy of justice, sacrifice, and righteousness. As the Pandavas embarked on their journey, a dog joined them, a silent and faithful companion, seemingly drawn to the sacredness of their path. Crossing rivers, forests, and deserts, the Pandavas walked steadily, their hearts set on liberation. Each step symbolized their detachment from the mortal world, a journey not just of the body but of the soul. As the Pandavas continued their journey, they reached the shores of Lal Sagar. Arjuna had not yet abandoned his Gandhiv bow and the two inexhaustible quivers, considering them as the divine gems. It was here that a divine presence emerged to meet them. Suddenly, the air shimmered with a celestial light, and before them stood Agni Dev, the god of fire. Agni Dev spoke, his voice resonant and firm. "Arjuna, wielder of the Gandhiv, the bow I entrusted to you long ago for the burning of the Khandava forest and your many battles. It is time for you to return it to me. Its purpose has been fulfilled, and you no longer have need of it on this journey." Arjuna, though deeply attached to the Gandhiv, lowered his gaze in understanding. The bow had been his constant companion, a symbol of his victories, his bond with Lord Krishna, and his unmatched prowess. Yet, in this moment, he realized that even the mightiest weapons must be relinquished when the time comes. Arjuna, with steady voice but filled with emotion, said, "This bow has served me well in the fulfillment of dharma. I return it to you with gratitude, knowing that its time in this world has passed." Agni Dev smiled, his fiery form glowing brighter as he accepted the Gandhiv bow and the inexhaustible quivers. "Your deeds have upheld dharma, Arjuna, and your renunciation of this weapon marks your readiness for the higher path. May your journey be blessed." The Pandavas watched as Agni Dev vanished, taking with him the Gandhiv, which had been a part of Arjuna's identity for so long. It was a profound moment, a reminder that even the most revered possessions must be surrendered on the path to liberation. As the waves lapped gently at their feet, the Pandavas turned away from the ocean and resumed their journey. Each step was a step closer to detachment, a step closer to the divine. Moving forward, they saw Dwarkapuri submerged in the sea. Then, traveling from the west towards the north, they gazed upon the mighty Himalayas. The path to liberation is neither easy nor forgiving. The harsh winds of the Himalayas and the steep, icy slopes tested the endurance of the Pandavas. Their journey, marked by silence and introspection, was one of purification, a shading of their worldly flaws. But even among the righteous, mortality takes its toll. Draupadi, the queen who had stood by the Pandavas through their darkest trials, was the first to falter. Her strength waned as the icy winds bit into her flesh. She stumbled, her once steady steps growing uncertain. Finally, unable to go on, she collapsed onto the snow, her breaths shallow and labored. Bhima, ever her protector, rushed to her side. His voice, thick with emotion, rang out, "Why, O brother? Why has Draupadi fallen? She, who suffered so much for us, who upheld dharma even in the face of humiliation, why has she been forsaken on this path?" Yudhishthira stopped and looked at his fallen queen. Draupadi, though virtuous and devoted, held a subtle bias in her heart, he said. Though we were all her husbands, her heart harbored a special affection for Arjuna. This favoritism, though human, bound her to the material world. It is this attachment that has caused her fall. Bhima's shoulders sagged with grief, but he understood the wisdom of Yudhishthira's words. He looked at Draupadi one last time, her dark, lotus-like eyes closed forever. Yudhishthira, leading the way, resumed his ascent without hesitation. This was the path of renunciation, where no one could pause for another, not even for a queen who had shared their lives. Draupadi, the princess born from fire, had returned to the elements. Her journey ended not in defeat but in the fulfillment of her mortal bonds. She had walked with dignity, courage, and love, and now, her soul sought the higher realms, free from the shackles of earthly attachments. As they climbed higher, the biting winds and the thinning air began to sap their strength. Sahadeva's steps grew heavier and his movements faltered as his body betrayed him. At last, Sahadeva fell, sinking to his knees on the frozen ground. The silence of the mountains enveloped him as his brothers turned to look back. Bhima, grief-stricken, called out to Yudhishthira, "O brother, why has Sahadeva, the wisest among us, fallen?" He was humble, devoted, and unerring in his adherence to dharma. Yudhishthira replied, "Sahadeva, though wise and humble in action, harbored a subtle pride in his knowledge. He believed himself to be unmatched in intellect and foresight. This pride, though unspoken, was a weight upon his soul. It is this that has caused his fall." Bhima clenched his fists, his sorrow visible, but he knew there could be no delay in their journey. Yudhishthira turned forward, and the remaining Pandavas continued their ascent, leaving Sahadeva behind. The youngest Pandav, who had been the silent strength of the group, now lay at peace, his soul freed from the bindings of pride. As they climbed the unforgiving slopes, Nakula's steps began to falter seeing Draupadi and Sahadev fall. His once proud and upright posture slumped under the weight of the journey. His flawless features, which had been the admiration of all who saw him, now bore the marks of fatigue. Finally, his strength gave out, and he collapsed onto the icy path. Bhima asked Yudhishthira, "Why has Nakula, who was righteous and obedient, fallen? He was the embodiment of beauty and virtue. Why did he falter on this sacred path?" Yudhishthira answered, "Nakula's beauty was both his gift and his burden. Though he lived virtuously, he took pride in his physical perfection. This vanity, subtle as it was, tethered his soul to the material world. On this path to liberation, even the slightest attachment can cause one to fall. Bhima and Arjun sighed deeply, their grief mounting as he watched yet another brother fall. They resumed their journey, their steps heavier with each loss. Arjuna, the third Pandav, was a hero whose name was etched in the annals of history. Arjuna's courage, skill, and devotion to dharma made him the epitome of a Kshatriya. But even heroes are not immune to the tests of mortality. As the Pandavas climbed further into the icy heights, Arjuna's steps began to falter. The exhaustion of the journey and the weight of his past began to take their toll. For the first time, the mighty warrior appeared vulnerable. His gaze, once sharp and unyielding, softened as his strength ebbed away. Finally, Arjuna stumbled and fell to his knees, his body betrayed him, and he collapsed fully. Bhima, unable to contain his grief, cried out, "Arjuna! How can this be? He was the greatest of warriors, the hero of Kurukshetra, and the chosen of Lord Krishna. Why has he fallen?" Yudhishthira replied, "Arjuna, though unmatched in skill and courage, was not free from arrogance. He often took pride in his prowess as an archer. Remember his vow to destroy all his enemies in a single day. That vow, unfulfilled, became a weight upon his soul. His pride, though subtle, bound him to this world. A man who wants his own welfare should not do the same. It is this that caused his fall." Bhima's shoulders sagged under the weight of sorrow as Yudhishthira turned and resumed the climb. The Pandavas pressed forward, leaving behind their brother, who had once been the embodiment of valor and devotion. Arjuna, the beloved friend of Lord Krishna, had completed his journey. His soul, unburdened by the pride of his mortal life, ascended toward the divine, leaving behind the battles, victories, and struggles that had defined his earthly existence. As they climbed higher into the unforgiving peaks of the Himalayas, Bhima, the second Pandav and the mightiest among them, began to slow. Finally, with a thunderous collapse, Bhima fell to his knees, his body unable to bear the strain any longer. Bhima called out to Yudhishthira and said, "Brother, I who have stood by you in every battle and protected our family with all my might, why am I unworthy to continue this journey?" Yudhishthira, standing tall and calm, looked at his fallen brother with deep sorrow and said, "Bhima, your strength was unmatched and your courage unshakable. But you were often ruled by your appetites, both for food and for glory. You took pride in your strength and boasted of it, often considering others as anything. It is for these flaws that you have fallen." With these words, Yudhishthira turned and continued his ascent, not once looking back. For this journey was not one of sentiment but of liberation. Bhima, the mighty son of Vayu, closed his eyes, surrendering his life to the mountains. Yudhishthira pressed onward, his steps steady despite the weight of grief he carried. Behind him lay the lifeless forms of his beloved brothers and Draupadi, who had fallen one by one during their journey. His heart was heavy, yet his resolve remained unshaken. The path ahead was no longer about worldly attachments but about transcending the cycle of life and death. Though he walked alone, he was not truly solitary. The loyal dog that had accompanied him from the start of the journey stayed by his side, unwavering and silent. As they approached, a radiant golden chariot descended from the heavens, illuminating the path with a brilliance that outshone the sun. From the chariot emerged Indra, the king of the gods, his divine form glowing with celestial splendor. "Yudhishthira," Indra proclaimed, his voice echoing across the heavens, "you have lived a life of unparalleled virtue and upheld dharma at every step. Your deeds have earned you a place among the divine. Come, ascend this chariot and claim your rightful place in heaven." Yudhishthira, however, bowed his head and replied with humility, his voice laced with sorrow, "My brothers and Draupadi have fallen along the way. If they cannot join me, I have no desire to enter heaven. Please make arrangements for them to accompany me." Indra smiled gently and said, "O king, do not grieve. Your brothers and Draupadi have already reached heaven. Freed from their mortal forms, they await you there. But you alone are worthy of ascending in your human body, a feat rare and divine. Come, let us not delay. Even as Indra extended his hand, Yudhishthira remained rooted to the spot. His gaze shifted to the dog by his side, and he said firmly, "This dog has been my devoted companion and a symbol of loyalty throughout this journey. I cannot abandon him. Hence please allow him to come with me." Indra's expression changed, and he spoke, "Yudhishthira, you have achieved the highest virtue and immortality. Along with these, you will experience the pleasures of heaven. The dog's presence will diminish the sanctity of heaven. It is a creature unworthy of the divine realms. Leave this dog behind and come with me. There is no cruelty in this." Yudhishthira responded with unwavering conviction, "To abandon one who has sought my refuge is a sin greater than any other. The dharma I have followed all my life forbids me from such an act. If heaven demands I forsake this loyal soul, then I choose to relinquish heaven instead." Indra attempted once more, reasoning, "O king, bringing a dog to heaven can cause the merit of your virtuous deeds to be consumed by demons called Krodhavash. You abandoned your brothers and Draupadi on the path. Then, why do you hold on to this creature?" Yudhishthira answered calmly, "Lord, it is a truth that no one is in harmony with the dead, nor is there opposition. I cannot revive Draupadi or my brothers, so I left them only after their mortal journeys had ended, not while they were alive. If abandoning a devotee is considered a sin equal to the 4 greatest sins, frightening the helpless, killing a woman, looting a Brahman's wealth, and betraying friends, then I believe that abandoning a devotee is more sinful than all of these combined. For my own happiness, I cannot perform such a lowly act." At that moment, the dog's form shimmered and revealed himself to be Dharma, the god of justice. Dharma was very pleased to hear the words of Dharmaraja Yudhishthira and, while praising him, spoke in sweet words. "King, you are glorifying your father's name because of your good conduct, wisdom, and compassion towards all living beings. My son, I had tested you once before in Dvaitvana as well. Even now, you have abandoned Indra's chariot for the sake of your devotion to this dog. No one in heaven can match your virtues. You have attained the most exalted divine state with this very body." With these words, Dharma and Indra seated Yudhishthira in the celestial chariot, and they began their ascent toward heaven. Sage Narada, the divine messenger, proclaimed from the celestial assembly of Devmandala, "Many noble souls have entered these heavenly realms, but never before have I witnessed a king like Yudhishthira, the son of Pandu, achieve such glory, virtue, and eternal fame. Unlike others who left their mortal forms to ascend, Yudhishthira has entered heaven in his physical body, a feat unparalleled. Behold, Yudhishthira, the countless worlds spread across heaven, those very stars you once gazed upon from the earth." On hearing Narada's words, Yudhishthira, in his righteousness, asked, "I wish to receive the same fate as my brothers, whether good or bad. I do not wish to be separated from them." Indra, in a gentle voice, replied, "Yudhishthira, why do you still cling to the human world, even after attaining the supreme success that few can ever achieve? You have entered heaven. Your brothers have not attained such a place. Why do you still harbor feelings for the world you left behind? Cast your gaze on heaven." But Yudhishthira responded, "Lord Indra, I cannot stay here without my brothers. I wish to go to the place where they have gone and where Draupadi resides." As Yudhishthira entered heaven, he was awestruck by the splendor before him. Yet, amidst all this beauty, Yudhishthira's heart was troubled. His eyes fell upon a throne of gold and jewels, where Duryodhan, his cousin and greatest adversary, sat in regal splendor. Duryodhan, the instigator of the Kurukshetra war, was being honored among the gods. Yudhishthira's heart burned with anger and disbelief. Why is Duryodhan, who caused so much suffering, seated in such glory? And where are my brothers, who upheld dharma? Where is Draupadi, who suffered silently for the sake of our family? He demanded. The gods explained, Yudhishthira, all enmities end in heaven. Duryodhan fulfilled his Kshatriya dharma by dying in battle, and for this, he has been granted a place here. Your brothers and Draupadi are undergoing purification for their earthly flaws. You, too, must accept that heaven transcends the judgments of the mortal world. But Yudhishthira was not satisfied. If this is heaven, then I want no part of it, he declared. Take me to my brothers and Draupadi, wherever they may be. Yudhishthira was led to a dark and foul-smelling realm, where he heard the voices of his loved ones crying out in pain. Yudhishthira, your presence brings us solace, the voices called. Overcome with grief, Yudhishthira chose to stay with them, rejecting the comforts of heaven. But in that moment, the darkness lifted, and the gods appeared. This was an illusion, Yudhishthira, they explained. A final test of your compassion and loyalty. Your brothers and Draupadi are not in torment, they have been purified and are awaiting you in the highest realms. Your trials are over, Indra said, his voice filled with compassion and wisdom. The suffering you endured was to fulfill the laws of karma. Those who endure pain and hardships first are destined to experience joy later. This is why you were shown glimpses of Narka, for deceiving Dronacharya by proclaiming Ashwathama's death. Indra then invited Yudhishthira to bathe in the sacred waters of the celestial Ganga, explaining that the act would cleanse him of his mortal bonds and the remaining traces of earthly sorrow. Yudhishthira stepped into the divine river, its waters shimmering with the radiance of the cosmos. As he emerged, his mortal form dissolved, and he received a radiant, divine body. Freed from the burdens of his earthly existence, he ascended to the celestial realms, where a joyous reunion awaited him. There, he was greeted by his brothers, Karna, Draupadi, and their allies, all transformed into luminous beings, radiating divine splendor. In this realm of eternal peace, celestial beings and ancestors, including Bhishma, Dronacharya, and others, had also merged with their original divine forms or ascended to their destined abodes. The heroes of the Kurukshetra war, from Bhishma to Abhimanyu, had all fulfilled their cosmic purposes. Each had returned to their elemental origins or united with their divine essence, completing their journeys in harmony with the eternal cycle. Yudhishthira, having upheld dharma and endured countless trials with unshakable virtue and sacrifice, was welcomed into the supreme divine realms. Surrounded by the radiance of the eternal, he achieved everlasting peace and glory, his name immortalized as a beacon of righteousness for all time. The story of Yudhishthira's journey to heaven is not just a tale of divine trials but a testament to the power of unwavering dharma, compassion, and loyalty. It reminds us that the true measure of greatness lies not in wealth, power, or achievement, but in how we uphold our values, treat others, and remain steadfast in our principles, even when faced with insurmountable odds. Yudhishthira's actions teach us that righteousness, dharma, is not negotiable, loyalty is sacred, and attachments, be they to people, possessions, or even pride, must be relinquished on the path to higher truth. Compassion for every living being, no matter how small or insignificant they may seem, is a virtue that transcends boundaries. In today's fast-paced, competitive world, we often overlook our moral responsibilities and kindness in the pursuit of personal success. This story encourages us to pause, reflect, and prioritize virtues like truth, loyalty, and compassion in our daily lives. Whether it's standing by a friend in need, refusing to compromise our integrity, or letting go of ego and material attachments, these timeless lessons remain as relevant today as they were in Yudhishthira's time. Thank you, dear viewers, for joining us on this journey through one of the most inspiring tales from the Mahabharata. We hope this story has left you inspired to live a life guided by dharma and compassion. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Vibes of Divinity. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and feel free to share what you found most inspiring about Yudhishthira's story. Stay tuned for more such captivating stories from the scriptures. Until next time, stay inspired, stay righteous, and may the light of Dharma guide your path.